Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Energy If You Know You Know, the podcast that provides a platform for the Gen Z workforce to share their unique perspectives, ideas, and aspirations as they shape the energy industry's future. Today we have with us Katia Nelson Cossa. Katia is originally from Mozambique and left to study abroad and get her petroleum engineering degree from the University Teknologi Petronas, or UTP, in Malaysia. Katia has a fantastic story that I can't wait for you to hear. Hi, Katia, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, hello, Saloma. It really is a pleasure to join you, and yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? You had an incredible path from Mozambique to France, and then to Norway. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what motivated you to take that first step out of Mozambique?
Yeah, sure. So I was back in Mozambique. Studying abroad was always something that I wanted. I don't even know why. It's just something that was there since I was very young. Maybe it was the idea of trying something different, something new, but it was something that was always in my mind. It was one of the motivators for me to excel in school and have good
Okay.
grades because I thought, at some point I would like to apply for a scholarship. But at some point, I remember that my father was a mechanical engineer, but he was working for the oil and gas company in Mozambique, and he went to Malaysia, and he mentioned that it would have been fun if you could go to. I mean, it would be fun if you could go to Malaysia to do petroleum engineering. So the Malaysia seed was planted, I guess, at that time,
Oh,
but it
okay.
was nothing. It was just something that he mentioned. And at some point, when the opportunity came to apply for a scholarship to study in Malaysia, I thought, wow, okay, this is interesting. And yeah, that's why I decided to take the step. But my motivator, I think, was just wanting to try something different. I spent my entire life in Mozambique. My family didn't travel a lot, and but I was always with them. And maybe I just wanted to explore something new and find out who I really was. Because when you're inside of a bubble, it's so difficult to understand what are things that are your own or just things that are because of the influence of the environment that you have around you. So I just wanted to try something new, and yeah, that's what led me to go all over and to try it out in Malaysia, and then afterwards France and now Norway. Yeah.
That's very bold of you because that's a difficult step usually, especially if you're very close to your family. It's just that one step to leave. So that's very bold of you to do. How was your experience in Malaysia?
My experience in Malaysia was one of the best I could ever had. It was so good, just like I mentioned before, because I finally understood who I was. I went through a period of doubting the decision that I had made. I had I went there to do petroleum engineering, and I was not so sure about what I wanted, if that was really what I wanted. But after some time, I really managed to find myself and to understand what I liked, what I disliked, have an idea of what I would like to do in the future. And yeah, it was really eye opening just to understand who I was, but also to explore something new because my Malaysia is so different from Mozambique in terms of culture, in terms of religion, in terms of there are so many aspects of it that are so different, and I really got to learn meeting people from different parts of the world, meeting friends that now I know that I'm gonna take to for life, and it was it was just amazing, really, really amazing. Exploring the world as well. I now have an idea of how Asia is like. I had a chance to travel around Asia and to just understanding the mindset of that country. I got to see how the energy business was more or less in Malaysia, and yeah, it was really really amazing. I really enjoyed it.
So you'd say it was like a starting point to sh kind of shape who Katya was outside of home.
Yes, yes, finally understanding who I am. Yeah,
Great, great.
yeah.
I remember you mentioning to me that petroleum engineering was not your first choice. And that's what you went to school for. It was actually your third choice. You were interested in mechanical engineering because you were more hands-on, right? Um, how did you overcome the times of demotivation and feeling disconnected with the coursework that you were working on? And how did you push through those moments? And what led you to continuing that path?
Yeah, that was a really hard time. it's it's really difficult when you face a time and you start to doubt your decisions and your
Yeah.
choices, and it's like, oh, why, what if this was not what I really should be doing or something like that. But first of all, talking to friends and opening up about my concerns at that time. I remember that I told this to my friends and they were so sad for me. But just
Yeah, it's not
opening
easy.
up and having people to support me, that was really like motivating. But after a while, I just had to keep going and just first of all, I had to tell myself that I am already made this decision. Let me just think of what I can benefit from in this experience. And afterwards, I think it was just in my third year when I was finally applying for internships. And okay, I would have to do an internship. I had to look for companies and so on. And at that time, I was just someone who was studying petroleum engineering, and maybe that was one of the things that made me feel so not disappointed with my choice. It's just that yeah, it was just the name petroleum engineering, but that was it. And after a while, when I was looking for internships, that's when I came across Equinor, and I have to talk about Equinor because that was a big changing factor in my journey. When I found out about the company and I started to see that okay, this is not just about petroleum engineering. This is not just about oil and gas. This is about energy, and it's something that is much bigger and much greater than just okay the title that I would have. It's energy, and it's something that is a huge topic all around the world. It's a huge topic in Mozambique as well. So it gave me a sense of purpose, and I
Okay.
started to realize, okay, yeah, then maybe I can see purpose in this. I can see something that I can actually make a difference in some way. And I think that was okay when I started to think, okay, maybe there are places where I would like to be, where I will feel happy and I'll be glad to be there because I will feel like I'm really making an impact. I'm really making bringing some change. I'm really doing something that impacts really the world in some way. So I guess that's when I felt okay. This was a good choice. This
Okay.
was a good choice, and it's actually relevant, and it's yeah, it's and in a way I see people coming after me now. I see my sister, I see friends, people who also want to do something similar because they've seen, and so that also motivates. And you're like, oh, okay, there are people looking at me as someone that they can be inspired by, and so on. So all those small things that were started to be planted when I was in my third
Mm,
year slowly helped me to be more content and glad with the choice that I had made and the steps that I was taking.
okay. So it's
Yeah.
it's the small steps. Um, that's that's awesome. The small steps, and as well as you mentioned that you found that sense of purpose
Yeah.
in your work, which is what everyone seeks. So it's good that you found that and that helped you keep going.
Yeah.
You brought up Equinor. So you're currently working with Equinor in Norway,
Yeah.
and your journey eventually led you to Norway because you got a scholarship with them for an internship, and that was kind of your first view of the company, the organization, and their values and culture. How did that resonate with you, and what made you want to go back and work with Equinor full time?
I think what made me want to go back was the fact that what I experienced in the company was what just reinforced what I already had in mind. So, what, as I mentioned, in my third year of bachelor's, I had to look for internships, and I was searching for internships in Europe as well, and I applied for Equinor. At the time, I didn't know much about the company. I have to confess, but
Yeah.
I applied, and I thought, okay, let me try. And this was the time I applied for the internship, and for the first time, I had applied for a lot of companies, and many times what I got was silence, and no kind of like no responses from the companies or no kind of clarifications about things and so on. And at the time, I had some doubts about things, and I would send them an email, and I would get an answer, or if they were going to delay something in the process, they would send an email to inform, oh, the process is still ongoing. We're having some difficulties, and I had information all the time. I remember that it was this really stuck to my mind because I still remember it was
Yeah.
the end of the year and there was no answer yet, and they sent like a Merry Christmas message and then explained that oh the process was taking a little bit more time. This was just before COVID, so now I imagine that maybe that also had to do and just that attention and that openness. If I had it, I literally had questions and I just sent them an email. After 1 2 days, I would get an answer, and I thought that was so interesting because
Okay.
many others will not do it. Many other companies wouldn't do it, And when I went for the internship last year, I saw this was such an open environment. I never felt like I couldn't voice out my concerns. I never felt like I was forced to do this or that. I had a say on in the things that I was doing. I had people supporting me. I remember that I'm a reservoir engineer and we do a lot of simulations and so on. But at some point, I had to do some programming, write some Python scripts, and I just I sent them a message on Slack. I put a post there, and someone came to me. We spent 2 or 3 hours. He doesn't work. He didn't work with me. He was not one of my close colleagues, but he was just willing to spend 3 hours with me, helping me figure out what was going on. And I thought this kind of culture and this kind of mentality where everyone is willing to reach a hand and just help and support one another. That was lovely, but also the fact that my project initially had nothing to do with CO2 emissions, but I thought that I would like to in some way incorporate. So basically, my project was about
Okay.
optimization of uh, rates, production rates, so that we could reduce. Increase NPV in the beginning, but then I thought I would like to include something related to CO2 emissions. And then, oh, my supervisor was completely willing to to take that in, and that was so interesting to see that this idea of talking about emissions and so on, that was something that could be within the day-to-day work, and I thought that was so interesting and so important for me at least. So all the small things really made me feel okay. I would really like to go back, and I applied. I was still doing the internship at the time when I applied, and I ended up getting it, and I was so happy. And now I'm back. Yeah.
That's great. I'm so happy for you. And you did mention, and it seems from your story and your example right now that two of your values were inclusivity and transparency, and they were very transparent in the way they replied to your emails, very prompt, as well as inclusive and accepting your ideas,
Hmm.
open to them, and
Yeah.
harnessing them, as well as very helpful and willing to go out of people are willing to go out of their way to help,
Yes.
which are things that you mentioned are valuable to you. So
Yeah.
I see your connection now.
Yes.
Going back a little bit, you wanted to go into mechanical engineering because you are more hands-on.
Yes.
You're a visual learner, you're more hands-on. And now with in your graduate rotation, you are kind of in a research area where that can be quite slow, so it could get boring at times. How does Equinor or how does your organization support your desire for balance between the research and the practical work? And what advice would you give to those young professionals who are too afraid to speak out and voice out what it is they want? Because that could be intimidating, especially when they first start and join a big organization.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give them?
Uh, yeah, and this is a hard one because I think the company that you join is also going to impact it. The people
Yeah.
that you work with, because sometimes there is no openness. I mean, there is no possibility to even voice out your concerns are. But I think my best advice would be to just try it, because what the worst you can get is a no.
Yeah.
And it's really important to voice out your concerns, because otherwise you will be stuck in something that you don't necessarily want to be doing, and that is going to frustrate you. So I
Hmm.
think it's the best thing to do is to just voice out your concerns. And I think it's just do it in a respectful way.
Hmm.
Just say, oh, I mean, going back to the fact that I'm now more on research, I would call it's a bit slow paced, but I'm thankful that I started that way, because for the first months it's my first working experience. So I think this was a good start for me. So maybe it's good for us to, okay, just try it out and see if it works for you. But if it doesn't, just really open up and say, okay, I appreciate this, but I would really like to try something different. And if possible, they will try to create ways for you to to experience some other things, to explore some other things, or maybe they will let you know, okay, why is it that you need to be here right now? Why did we think this would be a good fit for you? And
Yeah.
may end up seeing things in a different perspective, and in the end, maybe you will end up liking it. So it's always good to have that conversation because you get to expose your perspective of things, but you also get to hear from the other side, and you see, okay, why are they putting me in this position? So I think that's great. You will always benefit from that kind of conversation. Mm.
That's a good point. I've never thought of it that way, but that's a very good point. Thinking of
Yeah.
why they put you in that position, and that
Yeah.
might shift
Yeah.
your perspective because it is a lot of times that more experienced people see things in ourselves that we don't see,
Yes.
or know that the outcomes from this experience will help us and develop certain skills. So
Yes.
it's always important to have that two-way conversation for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They may be aware of some learning opportunities that you're not aware of. So if you talk about it, you get to see that and you hear about those things as well. So it's always great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like you've learned to slow down
Yes.
and taking this position.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's
Yeah.
good. Um, you mentioned emissions being exciting you and sustainability exciting you. So how do you see that the energy industry during a period of significant transition, how do you see its impact on your home country? And would you ever like to go back and contribute to that, to Mozambique?
Definitely. And I think this is a huge challenge because, and I say this not as someone who's very aware of what's happening because I have to be honest. For the
Yeah,
last 7 years, I've not been in Mozambique. I've not been
yeah.
involved a lot. But just from what I see in conversation with people who are already there, it is a conversation that is starting sustainability and energy transition. Yes, we are aware of it, but how are we going to put the theory into practice? And we also have to think of the energy business, something that is relatively new in Mozambique.
Hmm.
Yes, of course we have, but we have gas reserves. We have, yeah, we are starting to see potential in this, and I think I will talk about this as someone, as part of the population that I am. I think it's very exciting for us to think that, oh, yes, this is going to be our breakthrough. But then you see the challenges that are also posed with the energy transition because the old ways of doing things no longer work. And then therefore you cannot just take what others have done, but we have to think how are we going to do this in a way that is going to be more sustainable? And I think that's a huge challenge, especially when you're thinking of, oh, this is going to be my breakthrough. You don't want to be thinking about though because all other things are going to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
But and that's not what people want to be thinking about. And I think that's what my experience outside has, that's what I want to gain from working abroad is just that how do we make it in a way that is sustainable? How do we make it in a way that yes, we can benefit financially, economically, but we also do it in a way where we are not causing much harm as it was done in the past. Yeah, we don't want to repeat the same mistakes that were done in the past. So how do we do it? And I would really like to go back to Mozambique and to somehow contribute positively. I would definitely like to do it. Yeah, I don't know how to do it yet. It's something that I've been trying to look at. Even just I don't know. I want to find a way to connect with the companies in Mozambique, to connect with the people who are working, and just trying to think of how do we not changing the mentality, but how do we all come together in such a way that we can tackle the challenges, but in the same at the same time benefit from the resources that we have. Yeah.
Okay. So you're wanting to, with your experience abroad, you're wanting to gain as much skills as you can,
Yeah.
but both soft skills, and we'll get to that in a bit, both soft skills and technical skills to go give back, it
Yes,
seems
definitely.
like, which
Yes,
is amazing.
definitely. Yeah.
Great, great. Um, So I guess again, this brings me to another question I'd like to ask you is living in diverse places, Malaysia, France, and now Norway, how have they impacted Katia as a person and your perspectives on the way you approach work and the way you approach people and the way you approach people who need help too,
Mm.
people who are contacting you, young professionals who are contacting you that need help. How have those experiences shaped who Katya is today?
Mm, I would say that now. I was I would you like to use the word square. I think I was just a bit square in the sense that I didn't know much about many things. I still don't know much about many things as well, but uh, I just knew my environment. I just knew Mozambique. Not even Mozambique. I just knew what I was used to, and getting outside showed me that people work in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, in Malaysia, there were many holidays, and people were always very excited about holidays. And in Mozambique, I think people are working, working, work. Yes, we enjoy the holidays, but we work long hours and work, 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 and just getting to see all these different mindsets in France also was a bit of like, I've never worked in France, but I was just always told that yeah, the working culture there is like really put all the effort that you can do, and then you come to Norway and it's something a bit different, and it's just it's good to see that different places do things in different ways, and they can all work for the people, and that you don't there's no one recipe that suits all,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's great. And you when you it also impacts my day to day work because it's so easy. I am a very structured, organized person. I am the person of spreadsheets. I have a spreadsheet where I'll put all my expenses for the month. I had a spreadsheet when I was applying for jobs last year where I put all the I am a very structured person, but I am this also taught me that different ways of working work like they
Okay.
do, and this impacts the way when I go to work. I know that my colleagues are not necessarily going to do things the same way that I do, but that's completely fine. We can all benefit from it. We can all benefit from the small differences that we have, and we just take the benefits from that way of working, this way of working, and like we can all gain from that. And I think that's very good because I know that at times I can be very stressed because people are not doing the things the way that I think they should be done. But I'm slowly learning that it's okay. It's fine. We can all succeed in that way if we can take the advantages of the different styles of working. So I think being exposed to different cultures, working cultures as well, has taught me that, and something that maybe otherwise I would have taken more time to learn, I guess.
I think so too. And Katja, I already see a magnificent quality of a leader in you. Under like seriously magnificent. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Which also you're honing on. These are skills, leadership skills that you are working on through the Young Leaders Program.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about that program that you joined? This is outside, well, like an extracurricular that you do.
Mhm.
Um, to help develop your leadership skills
Mhm.
and what is it you want to learn and gain from this experience?
So basically, this is a program where there are a couple of us from different companies around Norway. All of us are from energy companies, and we have a couple of sessions where we explore different things. For example, last time we met, we were talking about presentation skills.
Hmm.
And as a leader, I think it's important for one to be able to communicate well. And how do you learn to communicate? And many times you think that it's just there is a formula. You follow this, and you will communicate in a way that is effective. But we got to learn that different people have different styles, and you just have to take the small tips or tricks and then feed them to your personality, your way of speaking, and so on. So I think this is a program just for us to explore different aspects of leadership and to improve in that, and also for networking as well. I think we'll have the chance to join the ONS 2024 next year in Norway, which is another networking opportunity. And we also hear from many companies in the energy industry, so that's a huge plus
Awesome.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what I want to gain from this is just to understand how, especially in the energy business, because this is a dynamic environment and a challenging one. I mean, I think I don't think understand now the challenges that come with the in that part of the energy industry, and this is first an opportunity to be exposed to that and to hear from other young leaders or people who want to be leaders in the future, and just learning from them, but also understanding how can I be a better leader. How I'm an introvert. I am someone
Okay.
who I'm an introvert. I don't. like to speak in public many times.
Okay.
It gives me a bit of an anxiety. But just how do we take these things that otherwise would I would look at as something that is not is negative, and then use it to my benefit and to impact the world in some way. As I mentioned to you, I would like to go back to Mozambique, but going back to Mozambique in such a way that I can empower others to I may have the I may have gained the technical knowledge at that time, but I want to empower others as well to be able to also make an impact in the country. So I hope that this program is also able to give me some small tips on how do I do that? How do I empower others to make an impact, to make change, and to deal with this changing and challenging industry. So I hope in the end we can gain from that, but I know that I will also learn many other things that I haven't not even thought about yet. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Everything you just started your career and everything you're doing now, you are thinking of down, down, down the line. And as a young professional, sometimes people are just going with the flow and just are thinking the next 2 years or the next 5 years. What instilled this passion for you to grow so effectively right now for that far down the line in the future?
I honestly don't know. Maybe I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's just I
What's
really
that
want to.
passion? Is it a
I
passion for
really
helping others? Is it a passion for giving back?
I would say that yes, I would like to give back, but it's also the fact that I know that for me to get here, and I know that for some people it may be you're not that far. It's just you just started your career, but this is a lot for me at already. I
Yeah.
was in Mozambique, I was in Maputo, and I just never thought that one day I would be working in Norway in a huge energy company. I never thought of this would be my reality, and I only had these opportunities because information was available, because I had scholarships and all of those things, and I thought I always think that I want to help others because I know that there are many other people who would like to be in this place, in this right now, where I am right now, and I want to at least help someone else pave that way as well. And it can be by sharing information, it can be by I don't know posting something that someone else is going to read and be like, oh, okay, this is something that I can also do. And it's just the fact that I am very not I would not use the word passionate because I think passionate you would do more, but I really
No, don't
want to motivate
underestimate
people
what passionate is. Passionate is something that is as much as you can do. It's up to
yeah,
your limits. It's personal, so you can use
yeah.
it.
Yeah, but I just want to somehow help those who will come after me because I think we don't lose anything by doing that. I don't lose
Absolutely.
anything when someone else is able to take a step further. I'm just gaining, especially I have a big passion for people in Mozambique, in my own country, because yeah, I would like to see others succeed as well. So I'm just motivated by the fact that okay, maybe someone else will come and be as happy as I am today, as glad and content as I am today. So hopefully I can help someone else pave that way. Yeah.
You want to duplicate the happiness and the gratitude that you have now,
Yes.
and you soaking in every ounce of opportunity that you have in Norway. And
Yeah.
that is just amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Great, Katia. If you could go back and give your younger self some advice, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh wow. I would say, mm, wow, this is a really good one. What advice would I give myself? I would say,
What do you need to hear
uh,
today? What is advice that you'd need to hear today?
I think I just need to remind myself that everything is going to be all right.
Okay.
Sometimes, because as I said, I'm very structured, and the moment something goes out of the line, I can be a bit desperate. But thank God I'm working on that, and it's something that
Okay.
I'm improving. But it's just maybe that would be the advice. It's just don't get desperate. It's everything is going to be fine because when I look back at moments when I thought that things were really bad, I overcame. So thank God that happened. Okay, because in some way I learned, in some way I grew, in some way I gained something from that situation as well. So
Mhm.
like it's okay. Everything is going to be fine in the end. So no need to be stressed about it. And yeah, this is a journey that I need to go through. So just calm down, relax, and believe that yeah, that everything is going to be fine. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. And I mean, if Katya, the 5 years ago, the one that didn't want to do petroleum engineering was looking at me right now, she'd be like, oh, okay, this is good, this is
Okay.
good, this is good. So yeah, just chill and enjoy the journey. Yeah.
Is that advice that you'd give to young professionals now? Just
Yes,
enjoy the journey.
definitely, definitely enjoy the journey because yeah, we there's always something to get from that journey. And even if in the end the outcome is not necessarily what you have what you had in mind before, but there will be something else there. And if you in the end you decide this is not for you, it's fine. You can
Yeah,
take another route. It's completely fine. Don't feel forced to continue with that.
I
You can find
agree.
another route, and it's absolutely fine. Just enjoy the journey and see, okay, what can I gain from this? What can I benefit from here? So yeah, enjoy it. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So as you wrap up, Katya, what final thoughts or messages do you have for the Energy If You Know, You Know audience, especially those who might be in their early career and exploring opportunities in the energy sector?
I think I would go back to the one thing that made my mind change is that understand what's the purpose. Why do you
What's
want
the
to be there?
purpose?
Yeah, understand what's the purpose. If you can find purpose in that, then it's going to be, I will not even use the word easier, but it's going to be more fulfilling.
Mm,
And when the difficulties come, and I think this is for anyone who's in the energy industry or anywhere else, it's just that if you know that there is a purpose, there is a reason why you are taking that route, then when the difficulties come, you will remember the purpose and it's going to be okay, it's fine because I know where I'm going. I know why I'm here, so it's fine. It's fine. It's going to be fine. Yeah. So just remember the purpose and yeah, just and enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. I really enjoyed the journey. Yeah.
I agree with that. Remembering the purpose and having a purpose overcomes any difficulties and any
Mm.
hurdles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enjoying the ride is difficult. That is something that we always need to remind ourselves, but absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Katya, we are down to our rapid fire questions. So in this part, I'm gonna ask you 5 questions in this or that format. So you're gonna reply this or that,
Okay.
and feel free to elaborate on any question, if or any answer you'd like.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. So, which country's cultural diversity had a more significant impact on your personal growth during your studies? Malaysia or France?
Malaysia, 100% Malaysia. I think it's because it was the start and I had people from all over around me. So
Mm,
it was definitely Malaysia. Yeah.
okay. If you had the chance to go back, would you still choose petroleum engineering or opt for mechanical engineering?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would still go for petroleum engineering, but I just have this thing. I think that even if I had opted for mechanical engineering, probably I would have ended up in the energy industry anyway. So I would have ended up here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you are following your purpose. You are
Yeah.
following.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you describe yourself as a dreamer who envisions big goals or a realist who navigates through practical challenges?
Ooh, I'm both. I'm very practical. All every time I did all those personality tests, I am I am very practical, but I'm very practical, but I also have big dreams. So there is that match between these two. That yeah, but
Okay.
I
Um, which do you think is more crucial in the rapidly evolving energy industry? Mastering technical skills or honing in on your soft skills?
oh, I think both.
Both.
Both because, as I said, this is a challenging time. And for example, when I talk about Mozambique, I also think that I always tell people that it's also something that has to do with a change of mentality. And you can
Yeah.
only bring that when you are able to communicate things in a way that are going to resonate with the people that you're talking to.
Yeah.
So, yes, the technical skills are necessary, but you also need some soft skills in such a way that you can communicate what needs to be done and how things can be done. So, both definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
when envisioning your future leadership role, is leaving a lasting legacy more important to you or making significant impact in the present?
Making significant impact,
In
definitely.
the
In the
present.
present right now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I agree with that. I think that was an interesting question, and I believe that making a significant impact in the present paves the way to
Yes.
having a long legacy.
Yes. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be done by me, but if someone else does, that's it. Like
There you
you've
go.
reached the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that ripple effect.
Yes,
It's
yes,
that
yes.
ripple effect.
Yeah.
Well, Katya, that is all I have for you today. This
Thank
was an
you.
absolute pleasure. I know that you've been a bit stressed. So thank you for joining this call. Thank you for joining Energy If You Know You Know. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and you telling us your story.
No, I really appreciate your time and the fact that you really made this a comfortable space to be. I really,
Absolutely.
really appreciate what you. Yeah.
All right. Well, see you on the next one. Thank you, Katya.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.